candidates. But now we're going to hear from the candidate who is going to lead the political revolution here in the state of Vermont, who is going to show Vermont's vision and ideals to the rest of this country. Let's welcome the next governor of the state of Vermont, Sue Pinter.
Talking to the high school kids. Are some of you back here? I invited you back. Well, it is wonderful to be here in Windham County, and just to reflect on what David said, I need to win Windham County big. I'm depending on you. And it's been incredible to be hearing from a slate of candidates, so awesome, so tenacious, so inspiring. We have some special water in Vermont. I want to tell you that it is incredibly exciting to be here, period, but especially to be here with our own Senator Bernie Sanders. I know that it is, Bernie, your tenacity, your vision, that has really inspired me and so many millions of others, but particularly my life in public service. So I want to thank you, Bernie. I want to thank you, Bernie, for really changing the course of the national conversation. For bringing social and economic justice into the center of our political agenda. I want to thank Bernie for fighting for Main Street and not Wall Street, and for making it a national priority to rebuild the middle class and to engage our citizens in our democracy. Thank you, Bernie. As your governor, I am going to work very hard to continue Bernie's fight. The fight to bring livable wage jobs, economic opportunity, and hope to this state, and to be that leader of our country, that leading edge state. And it's why I am so proud to have Bernie Sanders' endorsement to be the next governor of the great state of Vermont. Are here because this is a very important election, not just at the national level, but here in Vermont too, because we all know there's a lot at stake. We know that there are too many Vermonters who are struggling just to make ends meet in this economy stacked against them because wages are not keeping up with the cost of living. We know that there are far too many children in poverty, too many families in shelters, too many students saddled with debt, too many young people, particularly young men of color, behind bars instead of in school. And like TJ, we know we need education, not incarceration. We have too many communities in Vermont reeling from an opiate epidemic. We have a beautiful Lake Champlain, a beautiful Connecticut river that we must clean and restore. And we have in Bennington over 200 families in North Bennington with contaminated, poisoned well water from PFOA. I want to be an environmental steward for our state, to leave it better than we found it for the next generation. We know that this is our time. Because listen, I am so glad, relieved, frankly, that it has begun to snow and rain and snow. Not just because I love the snow in the winter, but because it's not normal to be 80 degrees in October. And we are yet again on track to have the hottest year on record. We know that climate change isn't just real, it's here. And we need to work together to change this story. I want to do that as your governor. And I know that we're all here because we believe in Vermont and what we can do to grow our economy for all of Vermonters. I take 1 second to recognize a special Vermonter I met here in Brattleboro, Jay Carpin, a 92-year-old World War II vet. Please give it up for his service. When we're all in. There's one thing I learned after Irene, it's what we are capable as a people. When we come together with a united mission, there's nothing that we can't do. So listen, I'm all in, are you? You know, we're here because we can't afford a governor that wants to put the pause button on progress. We need a governor who's ready to create an economy for all of Vermont. So we have a choice in this election. I have to ask you, do you want someone whose idea of growing the economy is about giving tax breaks to the wealthy and corporations? Or do you want a leader who wants to build livable wage jobs, invest in our communities, and give Vermonters a raise? Do you want as your governor someone who is opposed to sick leave, or someone who wants to expand to paid family leave and make sure we have equal pay for equal work? Do you want as your governor someone who has no plans for affordable child care or college, or do you want a governor who's ready to commit to 2 years tuition-free at Vermont Technical or Community College? Whether climate change was man-made, or someone who knows that this is the most important threat we face as a people and a planet, and who's ready to help us transform our energy future. You want, as your governor, someone who thinks that our gun laws are just fine? Or someone who wants to stand with the 85% of Vermonters who believe that the Second Amendment and gun safety can go hand in hand, and is ready to stand up to the I mean, do you want for your governor, at a time when we have a national war on women, a man running for president who makes jokes out about assaulting women, we have 400 pieces of legislation in legislatures across this state to restrict a woman's right to choose? Do you want as your governor someone who is recommended by Vermont's right to life? Or do you want someone who will stand strong with Planned Parenthood, stand strong for a woman's right to choose? Let me tell you. But here's the thing, you heard it from Bernie, you heard it from Mike. We've got the National Republican Governors Association, whose biggest funder are the oil billionaire Koch brothers, who are pouring over $2.5 million to defeat us. And we have a message for them. Vermont and neck. This is a very close race. But you know what the Republicans and the Koch brothers don't have, and we do? It's all of you. It's all of you, because like Bernie said, when Democrats get out to vote, Democrats win. We need your help in the next 10 days to get out to vote. We need you to help make phone calls. We need you to help door knock. We need you to tell your neighbors. We need you to register, and we need you to vote. Are you ready? It's ours. I want to go run through the tape, and I want you right there with me. Let's do this, because we can make history. In 225 years of history in Vermont, we've only ever elected one woman governor. I'm ready to be the second, and I hope you're ready for me.
So, let me recapitulate. I heard a whole lot, so let me wind it down. Number one, these guys are going to win in Windham County, but that's not the important thing. They can get 70–80% of the vote in Windham County. It could be a bad night for them. The point is not just the percentage of the vote in this, perhaps, don't tell anybody in Chittenden County I said this, perhaps the most progressive county in the state. But what is important is the number of people who come out. So we have got to work double time in the next 10 days to drag out our family, our friends, our co-workers, and let us have a very, very large turnout here in Windham County. Second point, and Senator Becca Ballot made the point. I personally don't get involved in negative campaigning. I don't think people want people to be destroying other people. So the issue is not whether or not Sue's opponent is a nice guy. There are many, I work in the Senate. I got to tell you, a whole lot of Republicans, they are decent people. They're good family people. They're honest people. But the important point is, how do you stand on the important issues facing the middle class and working families? That is the important issue. What kind of vision do you have for this state and in this country? Frankly, you are not a nice guy if you are not worried about the future of this planet and how you may be a nice guy personally, but you're not a nice guy if you are not concerned that we have tens of thousands of Vermonters working at very, very low wages, that parents can't afford decent quality child care, that so many of our people still lack affordable health care. So it's not a personality contest. I think Sue would do just fine in that. This is what democracy is about. It's not a high school presidential election for the senior class. This is about which candidate has the vision and the ability to produce for working families and the middle class. And I think these are the guys who are prepared to do that. Last point. What media does and what happens in Washington is we are taught every single day to think small, not big. We are taught every day and hammered every day in a million different subtle ways not to ask the important questions. And the questions are, should we continue along the path of moving toward an oligarchic form of society, or are we going to create a vibrant democracy? Are we going to have an economy that works for ordinary working people, or an economy that works for billionaires? Are we going to have a criminal justice system which says, you know what? If you are a Wall Street CEO and you break the law, yes, you're going to be locked up, not just some kid smoking marijuana. What the TV forgets to tell us is that we are the wealthiest country in the history of the world. If we were a poor country, we would have a very different type of discussion. I see Jay over here. We have veterans in the United States sleeping out on the street. Veterans who are not getting the benefits that they were promised. This is the richest country in the history of the world. We have the ability, we have the resources to protect our veterans, to protect our children, to protect our seniors, to protect the disabled. But we are going to have to tell the billionaire class and large corporations they are going to start paying their fair share of taxes. We've got a lot of work to do in the next 10 days, and that's on your shoulders. The Zuckerman is right. You go out and bring out 2 or 3 other people who are not prepared to vote, that will make the difference about whether these guys get elected or not. But what I hope very much is that all of you understand that this is not just a fight in the next 10 days. On the day after the election, we need your help in working with your elected officials in transforming this country and making our state and our nation the kind of places that you and I know that we can become. Thank you all very much.